Reverend David Lagos-Fonseca grew up under military dictatorship in Chile, was part of the transition to democracy, and learned about justice and faith through his family and church. Now Reverend Lagos-Fonseca is Associate Pastor at First United Methodist Church, Chicago Temple. We also welcome Matt Mountel, an attorney and site supervisor at Chicago Temple's Homeless Ministry. Could you tell us a little bit about growing up in Chile?
Well, I was born in the capital of Chile, Santiago, and then moved to, lived in Santiago for 15 years. My father was in the Air Force, so I grew up in a military base for 15 years. And, well, the coup in Chile happened in 1973. I was 10 years old, and so I lived under military dictatorship for probably 20 years, 21 years. And I also lived in the southern part of Chile, where I had my college education at the Pontifical Catholic University, and then came back to the capital. And so my life was pretty quiet as an infant, as a kid. I had a great time as any kid, but during my adolescence, I got more in touch with the issues that were going on in Chile, especially because during the dictatorship, my father was in the Air Force, so he was pro the military regime, and so I didn't know what was going on. We were much protected from the outside. Going to college, I had a better view of what was going on, how the country was divided, how the military regime had a tremendous effect on the population. Many people disappeared, and many people were sent to exile to Europe and the States and many other places. So that raised in me the desire to look for the causes of why this happened, why we were so protected and not told what was going on, and got involved in college in movements that were pro-democracy, which at times put me at odds with my dad, but we respected each other's views. And from then on, I got involved in justice ministries, reconciliation process in Chile. I participated, did my small part in helping when the military regime ended, help the exiles that were returning to Chile to get their lost place in society by helping them find a job. I was part of the Methodist Church at that time, and it was the Methodist Church had a college in northern Chile, and it was one of the first and probably unique only places where some of the exiles got their first job coming back to Chile. We were very open to help them. So it was a very transforming experience for me.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
It sounds very interesting, transformative. I read a little bit about a drink called mate that your grandmother shared with you or shared with people. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
My grandma was Catholic, and she was very faithful to her faith, and it is with them, with my grandparents, that I learned to reach out to people, especially to the poor, and be involved in the community, helping the community, to be in solidarity with the community. They always share with people whatever they had. And one of the things that they had was mate. And mate, you can drink it alone. It's a typical drink of South America, especially from Argentina. It is called a national infusion, you know. It is it's called yerba mate, and it is a sort of a shrub that is shredded and put into a gourd with a metal straw. The way you drink it is with hot water, adding hot water to it. You can drink it alone, but a very good sign of friendship and solidarity is when you have a shared gourd and pass it around. And it's like, having communion and drinking from the same chalice. And that's the way we did it.
Reverend, what brought you to Chicago Temple?
I was appointed by our bishop to the Chicago Temple because they saw certain gifts in me to work with homeless ministries, also to work with immigration issues, help Reverend Wendy Witt and Reverend Phil Blackwell in the justice ministries, and to work with the care in the care of the congregation. So there's a lot of work to be done there, and I'm excited to work with fine colleagues and learn from them and be in the middle of the city.
And Matt, you and the Reverend have a connection at homeless ministry. Could you give me kind of a brief overview of what homeless ministry is and how you reach out to people and help?
Absolutely. So the homeless ministry serves 150 to 200 clients per week. And what we do, we provide sort of a broad category of different services, and the primary one being a hot meal. So we gather a lot of food from different sources around the city that donate to us and purchase some quantity of food as well. And we get all that food together at the temple. It's prepared, made into a meal. So we have a lot of different entree type dishes and vegetables and salads and things like that. And that all gets served out every Saturday morning. And in addition to that, we also do some limited amount of clothing and some supplemental services. So there are legal services that come through. A legal clinic from DePaul helps out with record expungement and getting IDs and sort of basic information for people, which, as you might guess, is necessary for them to be able to, apply for benefits or jobs or housing or things like that. And then there's also a nursing staff that comes every other week, and they also help out in doing some basic health screenings and referring people to additional care if needed. And it's oftentimes the only health care that these people are receiving on a consistent basis.
How did you get involved in that? How did you get started?
Well, actually, my then girlfriend, now fiance, was the one that brought me along with her. She had been involved and had previously been involved through the church, and brought me in to help her on Saturday mornings. I was curious to see sort of what she did on Saturday mornings. So she brought me along, and it really spoke to my history and my Jesuit education, both in high school and in law school, and the focus on service and serving others. And it really immediately connected with me as something that was valuable and that was really serving a population that was underserved and often disrespected, and something that's really needed in any scenario, but especially in the city of Chicago, where there's such a really giant population.
The main thing that we do is to provide a place where people find solidarity, find a place where they belong, but also a place that gives them dignity and respect. And I think they appreciate that. And trying to find for them places where they can find a job. There are very good success stories, of course. We do have some of those.
Could you give us an example?
We have a guest that through some connections in the church, through members, we could get him to work downtown Chicago, and he started 2 weeks ago, and he's doing very well, but he cannot afford to pay for a room, for a place, for an apartment. He's still a homeless person, but soon we think he is going to be able to save enough and find an apartment or rooms, and then go on from there. So I think it is a great story to share. Not many of those happen every day, but it is worth it.
Thank you, Reverend Lagos-Fonseca and Matt, for sharing your important message of hope.
Thank you.
I'm Ashley Clark for Different Drummers and the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries. Keep the faith.